Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you, as always, on our Monday midday. It's time slot, and as always, I'm joined by Andrew Combo Sal to discuss the latest and the greatest in the NBA. Combo, what's going on, man? How's it hanging?
Everything's going really well, Coach Nick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I am on a new eating kick. I'm very excited. I did that 3-day juice cleanse, and I've slowly introduced foods. I'm only no caffeine, no processed sugar, no gluten, and almost no dairy.
No processed sugar. I feel like 98%, and that's a totally made up stat of people in this country are addicted to sugar.
Oh, without question. And I gotten over that lizard brain thing where I could actually sit in the room now and see like a chocolate cake slice and not have to eat it. Like I could just be there. It's no problem. I might fall asleep in the middle of the show. So, yell if you have to wake me up. But
I'm like that driving down the street. Like I rarely go and eat fast food. But when I see like Wendy's, like I want to drive in and go get it, but I never do.
Wendy's? Really?
Yeah, those Wendy's burgers are pretty good. I never go in though. I mean, I
think
what?
I don't remember the last time I've had a Wendy's burger. It's been.
How about like Chick-fil-A or even Popeyes? Like I always want to like drive in there.
Here's what's weird for me about Chick-fil-A: breaded chicken on bread. I don't understand that. It's a weird thing to me.
I mean, look,
bread on a bun. I don't get it.
Look, I rarely eat it, but it's really good, that chicken sandwich.
It's pretty good. The pickle in there, I get them, but
it's good. It's good. I mean, especially
gross food like that. Then I gotta take you around LA. There's some places.
Yeah, in terms of nutrition, terrible, but in terms of price point, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's like $3 for chicken sandwich.
Okay, maybe there they say low, but like McDonald's now, if you've gone there recently, the prices are through the roof. When I get it for my kid, it's crazy.
The only thing I even think about for McDonald's is breakfast. That's the only thing I would even think about.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. All of it is just not good. It's not good. Don't eat there, please.
Yeah. I stay away from it. All
right, but what's up? We got some people in the chat. We got business going. What's going on, Terrence? Martin Jose, great to see you, Martin, friend of the breakdown, and Rayvon. What's going on, people? Let's go talk some NBA. What do you say? You were the provocative one with a list of. You sent me a list. I'm assuming it's some version of a top 15 of the NBA players as it is now. Is that correct?
Hoops hype list.
Oh, that's a hoops hype list. It wasn't your own list. You can't think for yourself.
I mean, no. That's what we do in the off season when we have no topics. We break down other people's lists. Coach Nick, you know that.
Well, I wish it was cropped better because I could display it on the damn screen. But you know what?
Well, I mean, somebody could send us, or you could find the hoops hype top. There's actually a top 100 list, but that's too much to like go through, and then they talk about each person. That's too much, don't you think? I mean, I thought the biggest takeaways would be in the top 15.
Yeah, it could be. Let me see. I downloaded.
I mean, what's interesting is LeBron and Steph are 13 and 14, and Wemby is 10. I think those are like.
Here we go. I'm going to get it up here in a second. I think I got it going here. What's this? If I do this, can we see this? Wow. We all went away. Oh, I know why. Let's get back here. So this is the list. Jokic, Doncic, SGA, Giannis, Joel. Are we okay with the top 5?
I mean, I think LeBron and Steph are better than Joel.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. Now, where is LeBron? Is 13th and Steph is 14th. Interesting. I guess they're getting a little long in the tooth. We want some new blood in there, I suppose. But you want to jump 13 and 14 in front of 5.
I think so. I also think Tyrese Maxey's not the 15th best player in the NBA.
Well, I was going to point that out. You know who's not on this list then, who's on top 15? Donovan freaking Mitchell. So there you go, Cavs.
How about his teammate, Paul George? Like Tyrese Maxey all of a sudden leaps Paul George?
Oh, yeah. God, that's why you're here, Combo. You beat me to that. I was like, how is Paul George not on this list? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, right? I mean, so what else jumps out to you? I mean, obviously Vic jumps out, and I'm super high on Vic. Maybe he is top 10. I'm not super mad at that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a little more projection up to like where he's going to be sooner than later. But I mean, listen, the ability of the plays he can make are like none other can make, right? And the fact that he creates off the dribble from 3. The defensive stuff is just out of this world, what he can do. And it's not even, we used to talk about that before where you'd see like Rudy would dissuade people from shooting in the lane, right? And there's no way to really to measure that stat. Wemby is on a whole other level of that. I mean, we have guys who really don't want to get anywhere near the basket in more profound ways. So I think we're going to forget about, this is the true Stifle Tower. I think is going to be Wemby.
I think the top 2 are really good, and maybe even the top 3 are really good, actually.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. You want to get SGA in there already, huh?
I think so. I would also flip Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum.
Oh, you would split them or you would flip them?
Flip. I would say that Anthony.
Yeah,
I'd say Anthony Edwards is better.
It's close. It's pretty close. That might be a good video. Who's better, Anthony Edwards, or Jason Tatum?
Great video.
That could be a video. Write that down. Somebody write that down. And don't do it before I finish it. I'm almost ready to get this Caitlin Clark video done. I've probably been talking for 2 weeks about it. And I don't know. The offseason has gotten my brain. I'm so slow on these right now.
All right. Well, let me quickly hit you with this. Caitlin Clark is a top blank WNBA player right now.
A top player? Top
blank. Like fill in the blank. Fill in the blank, Coach Nick. What?
Top 5.
Really?
Yeah. She's going to break. Well, you know what? She almost broke the record for threes, unless she gets 8 in the last game. But she's like, we're going to be right there on top of the most threes ever made in a season. She's broken the record, not the rookie record, the WNBA record for assists. We have the owner of that last year laughing at her before the season started. I'm sorry. She was like, "No, that can't happen." And then Cheryl Swoops responded crying, laughing as if, "Yeah, that isn't going to happen." And yet here we are. A lot of underestimation on her by other people of Caitlin Clark in a strange way that I never understood.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like there is a lot of Caitlin hate.
She's got to be top. What I mean,
I don't know, Coach Nick. I'm not too locked in on the WNBA. I just like top 5. Wow, that's kind of crazy.
I'm going to ask a WNBA executive right now.
All right, and now, so are we anything else we find interesting about this list, or in the comment section? Does anybody want to super chat about the list? Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Anything?
Yeah, right. Don't forget, if you want to weigh in, ask a question, or weigh in on anything like that, super chat on the YouTube side is the way to go. It'll help us keep the lights going and really help us keep the show going. So we really appreciate that. But let's keep going. We got, let's do a couple shout outs here. We see DTG out there, DFJ. What's going on, guys? Good to see you out there in the chat. But Asia is better. Asia could be better. I mean, it's also the thing with Caitlin Clark is when they got back from the Olympic break, the Fever went on a run and won 8 out of 12 games. They got into the playoffs the first time the longest playoff drought ended in the WNBA. So they've been playing a lot better all of a sudden. They must have practiced a little bit, I guess, during the break or something, and they got some stuff in order. And so there's a big jump there. So now, remember, Caitlin Clark, if you want to factor in everything from the very beginning of the year where there's a bit of struggle, maybe, okay. But I mean, what we're seeing now over the last, the second half of the season is enough for me to put her in the top 5.
Okay.
Yeah, hate is weird. And I'm not even think this is hate if I say that Paige Beckers could be better than her.
I know you told me that last time. That's interesting.
Right. So the only question now is Wembanyama, will he finish higher than anything we're thinking of by the end of this coming up season?
Oh, like 1?
Well, do you think that he's going to, okay, how about this? Will he have a better season in year 2 than he did in year 1?
Oh my God, of course. What do you mean?
Yeah. Okay. So if that's the case, he's going to have to rise, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, he looked like he was stronger in the Olympics. He looked like he added some stuff to his game.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, and also, and on top of that, the second half of the season, he was playing like a top 15 guy. He was playing like an all NBA player. So yeah, definitely.
We're kind of unleashing him a little bit more. I feel like maybe they were getting the better guard alongside him. And they have CP3 now, who's, probably closer to washed than not washed.
Yeah, but sometimes I feel like the fit is going to defy the age. Like the fit is so perfect with Wemby. And also Wemby could clean up a lot of what CP3 will be lacking defensively now. He'll get a lot more lobs than ever. I think CP3 will be all right with this team.
I mean, I guess the last team that CP3 played on didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's no expectations. I actually do think the Spurs will make the playoffs this year.
Well, you know what the team he was on last year, right?
The Golden State Warriors?
There were some expectations there, don't you think?
Do you think that's a hot take that I said that the Spurs will make the playoffs?
Well, let's go back to that because I think didn't we talk about that last time, or maybe you said someone else is going to make the playoffs in the West. But if we do that, we need to look at who drops out. So in that the play-in, it was the Lakers, Pelicans, Kings, Warriors.
Coach Nick always trying to debunk me.
No, I'm not trying to. No, I'm trying to take your premise and take it to the next level. So who drops out that made the playoffs last year?
So let's put up the list. Like let's segue since you're producing and
yes,
let's segue. Let's put it on.
Well, all right. It's a messy screen, but let me see because I'm using the ESPN.
We need a producer, Coach Nick. We need a producer.
Producer smooser, but yes, it'd be nice if we had one. Right, because here I'll do a screenshot of it and we'll do it. So let me do it this way. That'll be cleaner. Western Conference. I'm gonna grab. I'll grab the whole conference. We'll put them all up. How about that? And open this baby up here. Oh, how do you open it? Oh boy, we need a producer. Let me go and get it open in the thing here.
Hey, maybe somebody will volunteer in the chat to be a producer.
Okay. Stranger things have happened. Okay, let's fire this up here. So here's the list. If I can find the damn. Here we are. Present, share, window. Here it is.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we have this. This is who's dropping.
I mean, the Clippers could drop low. The Pelicans could drop low. Who else? I mean, those top three teams are going to be in the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah. So OKC, Denver, Minnesota for sure. The Clippers probably could be one of those teams.
The Clippers could definitely, and the Pelicans could be one of those teams. Who knows what's happened? Who knows what's happening with Ingram and everything over there?
Yeah, well, Zion,
I mean, the Kings could drop out, but they got DeMar now, so they might seem better. But I guess they're not in the top 8.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that DeMar.
Oh, the Lakers.
Okay, so I think the Clippers, Lakers,
Pelicans. I'm saying could. I'm not saying they will. And then they're also
two teams I'm looking at right now who would drop out.
Yeah, those are the 3 teams that could drop out. Not saying they will.
Okay, so there you go. So there's room. There's a possibility they can sneak in there. That Spurs can take that spot. And yeah. All right, let's get to some super chats. We have some. So Alan Tran, best friend of the breakdown. Thank you so much, Alan. Great to see you. This list is laughable. It's so easy to count out older players like KD, Steph, and Bron, but any GM would take those 3 over Brunson or even Tatum. That's a really interesting point. This season, going into this season, I wouldn't take LeBron.
Well, how about for a playoff series or a playoff game? I'm taking LeBron almost over everybody.
Brunson or even Tatum. Now, okay, I'm sorry. Would I be taking LeBron over Brunson or Tatum specifically versus, okay. I mean, man, Brunson, you know how I feel about Brunson. I would, you know what? Would I take Tatum over? Would I take LeBron over Tatum? Is that a hot take?
Hey, not to make everything about the Olympics, but LeBron was Team USA's best player, and Brunson didn't even make Team USA. And I love Brunson. I think he's like the face of New York. But there are some reasons for that, even though obviously some of it is marketing and because of his name too.
Yeah, that's an interesting question too. So I think that Bron was great. I wish I could use some footage because it'd be interesting to see why Steph couldn't get going until the last 2 games, and there's interesting things about that. So the Tatum thing is interesting in terms of what he represents, how good is he really, which is why that's what we were saying. We're saying Tatum versus
LeBron.
Minnesota.
Yeah. I got Ant over Tatum.
Now, I don't think Tatum would like that one bit. Tatum is probably concerned about his legacy, where he's going to land on that list.
I think it's conventional wisdom to bump up a guy who just won a championship, but you can't go with conventional wisdom because he wasn't even their best player in the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? That's why I feel like he gets the bump from some people.
Right. But we can also just be patient and wait a little bit and then see what happens this year.
I mean, he's been playing for a long time. I think Tatum's great. I'm not as high on him as some others. That's all.
Yeah. I would think that maybe by the end of this year, we'll find out that if Edwards, finally makes his real mark. It's an interesting team though with the Timberwolves as far as how they have to have Cat and Rudy and like sort of balancing those things to try and get the most out of, Edwards. And I think that they were moving towards that, right? They were kind of getting there. But there might be some upgrades Minnesota could do. I mean, Conley is coming back, right? And that's an area where they could improve.
Defensively, for sure. I mean, Mike Conley's he's pretty good on offense still.
Yeah, I mean, they were number one in defense. Oh, you're talking about Conley specifically?
Yeah.
But if you're talking about elite and getting to that next level, like go farther than what they have, I just wonder. I don't think Conley's the guy at this point.
They have they already have like 3 all-star level players, and Anthony Edwards is even more than that, and Cat can be like an all NBA level guy. Do you think they need more? Do you think they need more talent?
It's funny because the Rudy thing was, remember how when their trade happened, everyone thought it was a ridiculous thing, and it didn't look good for a while. And then here we are, right? They were doing well, but again, is there a ceiling then with that that we're seeing that you just simply can't avoid when you have him playing 28, 30 minutes a game?
What do you think it is? You think it's malleability? That's the issue?
Yeah. Well, I think it's lack of offensive ability. At some point, you got to have better offensive ability in that position. If Naz Reid started instead, do they lose anything?
Defensively, they lose something. Yeah.
Yeah, something. But think about what they get on the other end.
No, I think I think they gain a good amount on offense, but I do think they lose a lot on defense. No.
I know. I think overall in the aggregate, it's a much more of a positive thing.
I guess we're offense over defense type of guys, huh?
Well, I think we can all accept at the very least that offense is better than defense, or it's more profound, right? It has a bigger impact. I don't think I do think it is. Unfortunately, I know defense wins championships, but offense ends up having a bigger impact. By how much is a debate. And I'm kind of looking really quickly at the lineups for the regular.
We should go over the worst basketball cliches.
Yeah, actually, let's do playoffs. Right, the worst ones are give 100% or 110%. Let me look at Minnesota's really quickly. Their playoff lineups with let's see here. The starters were a plus 12.4, and then Reed in there actually it looks like if you put Reed in there, I got to find the actual starters with them. The next most played lineup was -5 with Reed in there at center, or I guess talent center. Interesting. I think if we look at it and pull it apart a little bit more, we'll see that there will be evidence that would back up, Naz Reid. But anyway, let's get to our next super chat. Braun, thank you so much, Braun. Another best friend of the breakdown. Always great to see you out here. Thank you so much. They say sneaky storyline coming into the season. Is Giannis injury prone now? Well, that's sneaky interesting. What do you think?
I don't think so, but I think it's fair because he has been injured a lot. I also say another interesting sneaky storyline is, are people sleeping on Giannis?
They might be. Now, Giannis tends to be very physical, right? So players that instigate contact, put themselves in harm's way. So not necessarily that it's surprising that he can get banged up like that. And he also gives out 110%. And so those are those moments where you can get in positions to get hurt. Is he like Jimmy Butler?
No, I mean, he hasn't proven that he's as injury prone as Jimmy Butler. That wouldn't be fair, but he is I mean, to Braun's point, I mean, he is a bigger player, and bigger players usually, not usually, but often, they have some injury problems, right? More than like smaller players.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I will say this: Giannis might have a resurgence this year, and even from
Dame might have a resurgence.
Yeah. So the little birdie in my ear has been telling me some things that have changed in Giannis's offseason training regimen, which should yield some results. I'm very excited about that. So
I mean, if Giannis is knocking down the 3 ball at 35%, watch out.
Yeah,
and have volume.
The mid range might be unlocked a little bit more too. They started to notice some things in the Olympics. So keep your eye on that because I'm excited about seeing some changes that I think are going to happen that he'll be different with. And I would anticipate him, yes, shooting, not even 35. If he can get to 33, 34 right now, that's 1 point per possession when he's hitting them. That's going to be really good. Although, watch, that's what he shot last year, right? Let's see. He shot he took less than 2 a game, was at 27%. So, yeah, he has room to get up to that 30, 32, 33%. That becomes viable at that point. So
they also got some good players. They got Taurean Prince.
Doesn't move the needle, but okay. Who else? They lost. They lose anybody? God darn it all. I forgot. You know what? This is great preparation. We haven't looked at what the new lineups are. Torian Prince is on there. I feel like they lost somebody. They did. No, he's there. Okay. So Brooke Lopez is back. Giannis, Bobby, Connaughton.
And Middleton actually looked good at the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, he is good, right? He's speaking of injury prone. He's a guy that's beat up and banged up and probably won't be able to escape that and going into his 13th year. Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting trivia question. What college did Chris Middleton go to? Don't look it up.
No idea.
Right? Isn't that interesting? I don't know if anybody can. Don't look it up. See it in the comments.
Give me 3 options and I'll be able to tell you.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see here. What about Marquette? Oregon. No, never mind. Then you're going to know.
It's the third one.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it like that.
Just tell us now.
Well, wait. We want to see if anyone in the comments is going to come up with it.
Well, they're talking to ChatGPT right now.
Right, we got Steve thinks Marquette. That's funny. I said Marquette. No, because he kind of feels like maybe that tough Buzz Peterson thing, whatever. Not Buzz Peterson. Buzz. What's his name? God damn it. Buzz. Anyway, he's not even at Marquette anymore. DHA thinks it's Michigan State. It's not another one of those tough, schools. Aha. So we'll give Ray Vaughn the shine. Texas A&M. That is the answer.
Shouts to Ray Vaughn.
Pride of the Aggies. Okay. Let's get Bronze another super chat here. Thank you so much, Brown. I really, really appreciate it. Saying that's completely overused. He can guard 1 through 5, but can he? Well,
who are actually the guys that can? It's also like, do you throw Jokic and Embiid in there, like as the 5s that you could guard?
Right. Because it's like if you don't throw them in there, and maybe like what's his face from Chicago, then what are you dealing with down low that you have to kind of guard, right?
Scotty Barnes is close to it. He's a guy that could guard 1 through 5, but obviously not Embiid or Jokic. He's one of the closer ones to. Who else do you think?
I mean, Wemby, I guess, would probably be that next level.
Yeah, that is true.
And he's lucky because he can give those quick guards a huge berth and then be able to then get the hand up. And I mean, didn't bother Steph in that famous shot of him.
Surprisingly, I saw Jokic guard Patty Mills really well in the Olympics when I was in Paris.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was for one play, but it like Patty Mills was cooking, and then they needed to stop, and he got to stop. Jokic is very underrated on defense from what I saw in the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, he's big. You can't move him when he's focused, and he paces himself. So you won't see a lot of plays, or you'll see swipes and sort of reaching in stuff in the first few quarters. But then, he ramps it up and ends up, increasing the intensity and playing a lot better on the defensive end. So could be worth a video as well on that. But there's no question that he's effective and he can block shots when he needs to and be a force down there. And he's so smart, right? He can read that stuff, and he knows when you're going to try and drive and dish, and he can knock the ball away. He's got good hands.
Yeah, he got fast hands.
Yeah. So that's all really good for him. So all those things translate really well for the defensive end. I mean, I guess you could throw him in there. I mean, Embiid could do 1 through 5, right?
Ones? You think he could guard like his teammate Maxey?
In my rotted brain, I could picture him, switching and then sort of staying in front of random guards. I feel like
Bam.
That Bam is probably the top of that list. Which is probably why he makes those.
Bam is a special player, man. He really is.
He is, but when is he going to finally polish up his offensive game?
That's fair.
At some point, especially with the Heat, who have that reputation, it's like. He needs to be able to finish better on post-up moves, and it's still I still see those issues sometimes.
What's going to happen with Jimmy Butler? Because he's going to want an extension. He's going to want a max soon, actually.
You know what I would do if I were the GM of the Heat? I wonder who is the GM of the Heat?
Pat Riley.
That is true. I was going. You know what? He's the president, but like right? He actually probably not Pat Riley.
No, Pat Riley's the everything. How about that?
General manager of the Heat. This is so
Who?
Andy Ellisberg is the executive vice president of basketball operations.
Pat Riley makes all the decisions. Him and Spo.
Fair enough. So if I was Pat Riley, You know what I would do? I would say, thanks, Jimmy. I really appreciate it. I'd give him a big hug. I'd give him maybe a car. And then, I would not sign him again.
A car.
I don't know. Statue, something nice. But, he is too injury prone. He cannot be relied on. You cannot, especially at
Well,
age
you have to see what he does this season.
35. We keep saying that. There's no way. He cannot
LeBron won a chip, right? After, not to compare him to LeBron, he won a bubble chip, right? After 35.
Yeah, beating Jimmy, who got hurt and couldn't play the way he was playing before that, as it happens every time. So it's a problem. I wouldn't, listen, you have risks, and you can always try. And I'm usually on that side of saying it's just assume they're going to be healthy, but with Jimmy, I don't know. And they're talking about the possibility of the Warriors trying to go get him, right, as a trade.
What do you think about that fit?
I don't see how that fits at all. Do you?
It doesn't really strike me as a Warriors guy, but haven't the Warriors change their versions over the years a little bit, change what they do?
Yeah. I mean, he'd have to be willing to pass and cut and stuff like that.
I feel like they're like the Spurs, they could kind of figure things out. They just need the great players.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, Jimmy can figure it out. And obviously he doesn't shoot threes really well. Right. And that's been a real problem, which could be helps. That's the other annoying thing about that. I believe that Jimmy could eliminate his hanging in the air before he releases and train better rhythm and get to a respectable number of makes.
Here's a question. I feel like a lot of coaches in college basketball like the idea of finishing off two, and I'm not against finishing off two, but I just don't understand why they're so pro finishing off two. Why not have options for both?
And by the way, Jimmy snuck in a 41% 3-point season last year. Did you know that?
That's crazy.
On 2.5 attempts per game, which is nothing. But he snuck that in under the wire. I didn't even notice that.
So what are your thoughts on the 2-foot jumping
I mean, I'm a big believer in finishing off 2 feet, but here's my thing. It doesn't mean jump stop and then jump into the 2 foot. It means you can go off of both feet because you have a more solid base and stronger base to go up through contact. There was stats that showed that you get a lot more and ones and the percentage went up considerably when you went off.
Yeah, but I think you're just, when you go off two, sometimes you're in an and one situation. You see somebody coming, you brace and you go up. You know what I mean? It's I don't know if that was the reason they got the N1. It was just a situation that called for it. And I feel like you should have different options for different situations.
Yeah. But I do think that, especially the way I teach off two, there's real value to doing that. But obviously, if you need to stretch out and maybe get it off quick, it's the off foot layup stuff. That's all really important. But
okay.
But yeah, it's also, how you can do this with how well you jump, on some of those things too. But I definitely now I just saw a team play in a practice, and they are all clearly been taught to do big jump stops and then into your finished move. And it was so frustrating because they're in the air so long with their feet before they land at the jump stop and before they make the move. The defense was having all time to catch up and then get in the way and cause bad shots. So I'm I don't like big jump stops where you're trying to cover a lot of ground and you're in the air really high and it takes too long. So
tough on them.
2 feet are the kind where you're off of both feet, split feet in rhythm. So you don't come off the ground at all and you just kind of go right into a 2 foot leap. I like those the best.
Tough on the knees too. Those hard jump stops.
You know what's tough on the knees, Combo?
What?
Basketball.
That is true.
So it's okay, that jump is stuff from these, put that on the list of everything else that's
no, but when you jump really high, and land hard for a jump stop, it's I don't know. I don't like the idea of that.
Right. That for all those reasons.
Yeah.
Certainly it just takes too long. You're in the air waiting. The defense has a chance, especially when you're talking about elite defenders who can move and get in position. But I'm going to have to look at why Jimmy – I mean, I have to imagine Jimmy's threes were all wide open because people don't want to guard him out there because he's traditionally a bad three-point shooter. But I got to look at that and figure out how he got to 41%. And by the way, LeBron did too. Is there anybody else that snuck in there that we weren't used to shooting?
The whole Celtics were 40%. Right?
Okay. Anyone in particular though that was traditionally a bad shooter who suddenly became good? Like LeBron. I mean, LeBron wasn't bad, but he
was Jason Kidd at the end of his career 40?
I think he got there. He got there. I was hoping maybe like last year, but yeah, you can talk about overall. Yes, Jason Kidd did probably get over 40, but that talk about 2-motion set shot, like wide open off of any kind of dirt
Hey,
gravity.
he transformed into a guy who can knock that down. That's pretty impressive after being called Ace and Kid for so many years. With an OJ.
That is the thing, though. When you shoot a 2-motion shot, you're much more susceptible to pressure. And I'm seeing it now. I just charted someone's shots the whole season, and I chart, closest to the defender. And, the percentage drops so much on any kind. And obviously, as it should for contested shots, but not by as much as it should based on what I was seeing for this person who's shooting 2-motion. So it's hard. It really is hard. When you want to try and set it and then try and push it out from there with a guy running at you, getting to your hand, that's not easy. As versus the rhythmic 1-motion shot, which is a little bit more impervious to defensive pressure. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, let's get Alan again. Thank you so much, Alan. Really, really appreciate it. Hey, Coach, does it frustrate you when b-ball coaches teach young players the 2-motion jumper, aka hang in the air, ball above the head, gooseneck? Great question, and let's talk about that for a second because, Combo, I know you can weigh in as much as I can. I don't have a problem hanging in the air on mid-range shots. Okay, if you're going to pull up from 15, oftentimes you kind of have to hang because you have so much energy generated from that move, and you're moving and you're jumping high. You kind of have to temper that with a little hanging in the air. But obviously, from 3, it's almost impossible in my mind to be consistent and elite from that distance hanging. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the 90s that was more of a thing of getting as high as you can on a jump shot. I think, when I first started playing overseas, I noticed a lot of the players were hardly jumping and they were still getting it off really nicely. So that's kind of what I changed my thing a little bit, where I realized I didn't have to jump as high. And I think I got more efficient. So yeah, I don't like the idea of just jumping real high on a jump shot. It's really all about not even how high you jump, just how your energy transfers from your legs throughout the whole shot. That's most important.
Exactly. A quick springy jump. And by the way, even the 2-motion shooter, sometimes if you can at least get a quick springy jump where when you plant that right foot in a left-right 1-2, if it's going up right away, you can actually catch up the right rhythm, even if you're having to do a 2-motion shot where it's going to pause for a second because you're speeding up the legs to some degree. So there are lots of ways to achieve that release that we're looking for. And if if it's stuck half 2-motion, you can kind of on the margins figure out ways to improve it even still. So I shouldn't say 2-motion is impossible to become consistent with, but the closer you get to 1-motion, the closer you're going to get to unlocking your true potential. And yes, it would frustrate me to no end if I'm watching coaches do it 2-motion for either the pause here or to hang in the air afterward. And then the release point really just shouldn't be over your head. There's a kid that shoots that way in the AAU program I'm working with, and it's just a catapult. He ends up coming up here. It's over his head. He can't get 2-motion shot that way. And it's really been hard to work with him to try and get him to, progress to keeping the ball in front of his face. Gooseneck, that's one of those old things, follow through, snap the wrist. I mean, obviously you want your wrist to snap, but, with the way Curry does is what I like, which is much more floppy, on the release when it flops. So it's not going to be like this when you hold it down and you're so tight in the gooseneck look. I don't want to be tight with the jump shot. I want to be energetic. I want to have energy in your hands, but I don't want to be, tense.
You don't want to be tight in life.
Right. You want to be loose and rhythmic and, in a positive frame of mind, all those things.
Flow like water, like Bruce Lee.
Yes. What else do we have to talk about here?
Oh, AJ Griffin might step away from basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We have any. There's no other details in that, right?
That's the thing. That's the weird. I feel like the narrative around it is weird, or the way people are talking about it, because they're like, "Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad." Why is it sad? Maybe the guy doesn't want to play basketball.
Yeah,
it's what he wants. So I don't understand why there's such.
AJ Griffin's father is Adrian, right? It's Adrian Jr.
Yeah. I mean,
so yeah, he's probably, it's been in his blood. It's been in his life, all these years. It might have been enough. He might have gotten just sort of burnt out.
And that's okay. To say something is sad and not know the details, I think is just weird to me. You don't know if it might have not have been anything bad. It's just you don't want to play. He wants to do something else, And I'm I'm a super obsessive basketball guy. Like it's been my whole life, but what I love might not be what he loves. You know, it's like everybody's different.
I agree, but you know, to get to where he got, obviously his life was devoted to this for a lot of years. And you know, but right, he decided for whatever reason he decided it's not that way for right now. And so, you know, we hope he can, you know, I just hope he can kind of get, you know, back to equilibrium and figure out what he wants to do.
Well, maybe he has figured it out. Like we don't know the details. Maybe he knows what he wants to do. You know, that's my thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean that happened with the guy from Iowa State that the Rockets drafted, who's now like in politics.
I have no idea who that is. What are you talking about?
He had anxiety. Anyway, and he's a kind of a MAGA nut now. It's kind of crazy, actually, which maybe makes sense.
Royce White?
We're not Royce. No, Royce what?
White.
Royce White. That's him.
Yeah, he plays Big Three, right?
Maybe. I don't even know. I just know that. Yeah. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Pick and Pod, and Mike, and everyone else who's much smarter than I am. God, I don't know. Is it the off season? I hope my brain, and maybe it's the lack of gluten. Something my brain is not firing perfectly right now. But I promise to get back on it. You know, get this goddamn Caitlin Clark video done. Please watch it multiple times. Please, it's good. It's some interesting insights that probably no one else is pointing out about her shooting, which we could talk about even right now, real quickly, in terms of her shooting. You know, the left arm swing along the left part of her body, which leads her to shoot a lot better from the left wing than the right wing. If you notice that,
KD like shot. KD does that, right?
A little bit like KD, but it's smoother. It's more of a one motion thing, but she does swing it up across the left side so that when you're on the left side of the floor, your elbow and everything is in line. Whereas on the right side, when you're here and then you're swinging it up, it might be a little bit harder to find alignment. Now, it shouldn't necessarily be. And I think obviously if you had that attention to detail, you could help her and you would stop seeing, it's a 7-8 point gap between left wing and right wing. It's a little bit high for me. But again, I wouldn't touch it. I mean, I wouldn't touch the shot. I think there's an alignment thing we can work with her on. You know what I mean? Get the feet set properly earlier in a different way, different mindset, and then everything else will flow. It's probably more like maybe Lonzo Ball's original shot a little bit, but it's still prettier and smoother. So at any rate, but I think we're kind of we might be at the end of our show here. I have to go record my political podcast in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
But again, we're slowly moving toward a time when there will be more NBA news, right? October 1st should be, that's when all the training camps are going to start or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I think this was
before that.
I think this was a good off-season show.
Yeah, good discussion. Top 15, love it. Where Wemby is. So, and we got some shooting in there, a lot of good stuff. So, all right. Well, anything else you want to shout out before we head out?
Combos Court, wherever you listen to podcasts. COMBOSCOURT. Instagram 12combo. The word 1, the word 2 combo. Yeah. And of course, if you're not,
we hear you guys.
And of course, subscribe to B-Ball Breakdown, where you could see more Coach Nick.
We know here, but you don't want to tell us about your...
Oh, what? Oh, radio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on radio, Power 105.1, the last 2 Thursdays, and I'm looking forward to continue on with it. So if you're in New York, tune in 6 to 10. It's usually talking sports around 7 or 8.
You're not contractually bound to say Power 105. You don't have to say it like that.
Power 105.1. Yeah. Shouts to Power. Shouts to Clue, who I do the show with. Shouts to everybody at Power 105.1.
Radio is still in business. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's doing well because those commercials are still paying to get those companies are paying to get those commercials on,
Love it. People still have a radio somewhere in their car or whatever, and they turn it on and they listen to live radio. I mean, crazy, but yeah. Hey, I love it.
Shouts to Power 105.1. Shouts to Power
105, absolutely. So, all right, well, great stuff. Thank you so much, Combo, for joining me and coming on here. Thank you all for out there for being part of the show today, and even also Alan, Bron, and Alan. So wow, they did the hat trick is 3. So what's 2? The double something when you hit 2 in a row. I don't know. Hat trick is 3 goals. So what would be 2?
Multi goals.
Riveting. This is riveting podcasting. I don't know. Multi goals. Yeah. So we have Alan and Bron with the double Super chats. Thank you so much for that. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You win,